Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Grip Lock preview of the Tour Championship.
The last
final one.
Yeah.
The final preview show of the year. What a year it's been. Never quite got this set finished.
How about that?
Yeah.
It'll be finished for the chess.
turn of the year.
Well, I don't even think it's called the chess.com. The Florida Open.
Whatever that ends up being. When that comes around, we'll have this thing done and ready for you. We'll also have my voice back.
Maybe.
It's almost back. Hopefully she holds on for the rest of this episode. But we're headed back to Nevin for the Tour Championship this year. Basically the exact same course. No changes according to the caddy book. Obviously, that means that there could be some minute changes. OB line moves a little here or there. A basket gets elevated that wasn't last year. But nothing like, oh, this hole's gone. This is a new hole.
Yeah, it's such a tightly wound course. I mean, most of this course, like 90% of it, is just 15-foot wide hallways. Pretty open hallways on a lot of the holes, but that's just what they are, so you can't really make a lot of changes. They have permanent tee pads in for both the long and short tees. You'll see the women playing different tees on a lot of the holes. But yeah, the court, like, there's a couple holes that have different pins that, like, they'll use one for the FPO, one for the MPO, but realistically, it kind of is what it is. You just can't make a lot of changes when it's that thickly wooded. That course is designed to be like one thing.
Yeah. Weather this weekend looking great. It's going to get a little warmer as the weekend goes on, but like the hottest day is only 74. If we look at the wind, let me double check this. Nothing too windy there at all. Obviously, they're in the woods too, so that won't really matter. But yeah, it's a wooded track. There's a few open-ish holes, mainly like a hole we'll throw out of the woods into the open, or in the open through some woods back into the open, or in the open into the woods. Woods are in play on pretty much every hole. And if there's not woods severely in play, a lot of OB.
Yeah, so many trees. This course is super, super difficult. I do think it is fun for the viewer, tough scene for the players that they work hard, they get this head start, but 4 rounds at that course with how difficult it is. I mean, yes, I think if people say that it means nothing, you're just kidding yourself. Like, of course it does. A 10-stroke head start for Gannon over the bottom of the field is still 10 strokes. It doesn't matter how hard the course is. But if you were ever in a position where you had a chance to make a huge comeback, 4 rounds at Nevin in this layout is certainly one of them, because if you are not hitting your lines precisely on any given day, you can blow up. You can make huge numbers. I mean, if you watch the footage from last year, like, there are just guys that got into desperate situations because, I mean, from the second you get off the tee, most holes, you're already hitting a tight gap, and then you have to keep the disc in a precise line or you're scrambling. And they're not particularly short holes either. There's some 1,000-foot plus holes. And then they bring in OB on even the few holes that do get into the open. So, yeah, I think this is one of those courses that it's not as tough, I don't believe, as Northwood, but it has a similar effect where you see a lot of people just getting dominated. And the way this tournament works now, I will say, like, I think previously in the bracket format, people would kind of get out of it and just kind of roll over. There was definitely some people that just kind of gave up. But I think in this format now with 4 rounds and more time to make a comeback and no cut halfway through, more importantly, I think now we'll see less of that. But I'm expecting some pretty big numbers. It still is scoreable if you're on, but every hole is a challenge.
Yeah. Now, one announcement that just came out in regards to the payout, they announced the official purse, $300,000 this year. It is a $22,000 decrease from last year. And the most notable decrease is the winner is taking home $35,000 this year, whereas they took home $40,000 last year. Second will be taking home $20,000, third place $12,000, fourth place $9,000. All players who qualified earn a minimum of $2,000.
Yeah.
Here's my take on it. Not surprising to see the purse go down.
No.
Kind of surprising to see it stay this high, but I think it would have been received. It hasn't been received poorly per se, but I think this could have flew completely under the radar if they made all players who qualify earn a minimum of $1,500, and you take second place gets $19,000. And you take a little bit here and there to make first place still get $40,000.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have noticed. If you told me first place got $40,000, I don't think I would have noticed it went from $322 to $300. But I saw first place got $35,000, and I was like, that's not the same amount as last year. Right. And then it made me go look, and I was like, oh, the whole purse went down. Yeah. So a little bit of a ball drop there, in my opinion, but I understand they wanted to be Everyone who gets in is rewarded.
Yeah.
You qualified, you did it. They want that to be more the field than the overall winner gets in. Like the overall winner went down. 35 grand is still crazy.
Yeah.
But the other thing that the purse decrease means is Ganon Burr, in order to cross $200,000 earned this season, does have to win.
He does.
Originally, we were speculating he might be able to come in second and get, because I think he needs 25 grand, if I'm remembering correctly. I think he's at 176.
Yeah.
So originally, I was thinking he could come in second.
Not the case.
That's not the case. He could do some sneaky plays and play a few A tiers in the offseason and get over 200 that way.
Funny. Oh my gosh.
If he came in second, he would be at 196 and need $4,000 more.
I need to ask him that, like, hey, if you cash, because if he cashes the 20, he might only need 4,000.
A little less than 4, yeah.
Like, dude just got to go win an A tier or a few B tiers. Like that, he would totally do it.
If I were in his shoes, of course I would.
Because like he doesn't have a family. Like, I mean, he's just kind of like doing his thing. And I'm sure of all the people that like love disc golf enough to do that just to say they did it, that would totally be a Gannon thing. Like,
yeah, why not?
I could just see that post. Like, took down the throwdown at the Cyclone farm today and just won the last 4,000.
That was the last $500. Put me over the edge.
That would be hilarious. I hope he does it. If he comes in second, I'm gonna make sure good and well that he knows to explore that possibility, but I'm sure he tracks it.
Here's an interesting thought. Okay, it's a complete side note, nothing to do with the tournament. Ganon Burr comes in second place.
Okay,
it's $20,000.
So that's something to do with the tournament.
He's at 196. Okay, I don't know the rules around what I'm about to ask, but could he make a flex start, a C tier, $4,000 entry fee?
Yeah,
100% goes to payout. Registration is open to the public, so it meets all that, but it's open for. This is where I don't know the legality. It's open for 10 minutes. So he doesn't advertise it. Registration's open and closed.
Well, he's spending his own money.
Yeah, he spends $4,000.
Nobody's going to fight him on that.
But I'm saying he spends $4,000, goes out, plays around at his backyard course.
Yeah.
13 holes so that it counts, and then gets $4,000 payout. Boom, he's over $200,000.
I got a better idea. He can host that flex start, invite as many people that he wants from his local area, and he will still win. So
yeah, it's just,
you also do it that way, but no,
there's at least a chance you lose.
Yeah,
on that. This way, it's just like guarantee.
Let's do that. How much money do you end up losing in this situation? How much money goes to the PDGA?
The sanctioning fee and whatever. If it's a C tier, it's like $3 a head. You could be out like $20-$30.
So what is?
So I could pay $30.
Forget 30. What is stopping us?
No. I'm saying I can pay $30 at PDGA to cash $250,000 at a tournament.
That's what I'm saying. What is stopping us from breaking the record? Trusting the PDGA with any sniff of our money. I guess that's what's keeping us.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like we could just like every year just like start.
Oh, Gannon's almost at 200.
And our career wins would go up.
$205,000 one win.
I guess we'd probably just get reported for fraudulent tournaments.
Yeah, so you'd have to study the rule of the tournament, but if it's legal, they can't say anything.
That was talking Pro Tour finale. Tune in.
Anyways, so let's look at the Pro Tour finale. Sorry for that side note. Ganon Burr will be starting at 10 under par. Ricky Wysocki will be starting at 9 under. Niklas Antela at 8. Calvin Heimberg at 7.
Hit him with it.
Hunter with a cough. 5th through 8th, Isaac, Paul, Ezra, AB. They will all start at 6 under.
Ezra Robinson.
We have to
clarify these days.
I guess we'll go through the top 10 because technically Chris Dickerson, Kyle Klein, Joseph Anderson, Matty O will all be at 5 under. So all of those players are within 5 strokes of the lead coming into the weekend. Looking at this course, obviously it's a more wooded track. This is a course Ricky Wysocki won on last year. Across 4 rounds, 1 stroke really is nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously 10 strokes is a lot, but 1 stroke really is nothing. What do you think between Ricky and Gannon? Who do you like the most on this track, just between those two?
Well, Rick, because he's won. I think that's the simplest thing to say. He's already had success at this course. I think Gannon is absolutely no chump in the woods like that. That's definitely not the case, but I do think that the wooded course asks for more hyzer flips, more pushing hyzer forehand type shots. It's definitely not where Gannon excels as much as his other shots. He's still going to be very consistent, very effective, but I do think that this wooded style of golf, when it's this heavily wooded, like dramatically, it brings a lot of other players into question. And there's not many courses they play this year that are so demanding like this one is. So I still like Gannon, and obviously he has a pretty good cushion, but I like Rick more. I think that he has a better chance of winning this tournament.
I would have to agree. I think mainly
he's just proven it.
One other thing is, we've talked about this somewhat, where Gannon doesn't handle the lucky or unlucky breaks at nearly as well as some players, to where like a chain out from 3 events ago, he will remember. I think that kind of can roll into Woods' play a little bit, just because you're going to watch people get luckier than you.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be one player that is the luckiest player in the field.
It's a grueling style of golf.
You will watch you throw 2 feet off the fairway, it kicks OB right. The next guy throws 10 feet off the fairway, it kicks back to the middle of the fairway. Yeah. And I think that can break down Gannon's mental state a little bit quicker than, say, a Ricky. And also, I think Ricky's just going to feel really good. He likes courses where he has history. So, of the two, I definitely have to favor Ricky. But one thing, I think Gannon plays really good under pressure, and he's going to be putting pressure on himself because he wants to get that 200,000. Yeah. I think that's definitely the accolades and all of that stuff that come with the Tour Championship. It's a great bow on the season, all of that. But like, I think above all, reaching that 200,000 mark and blowing, he's already blown the previous record out of the water, but this would be like, what, 80 grand above the current record, something like that?
And even forget the milestone, 35,000 is 35,000. Like, I mean, it's the highest payout they play for all year. You're going to see that extra oomph from the players, especially as they get towards the end, knowing how much. I mean, we are literally can see putts that mean $15,000 from first to second. So there's that much at stake there's always going to be a little bit extra motivation. If you feel like you're somebody that should win this tournament or has a great chance to do so, you're going to want to convert on that. And then the players towards the bottom of the field, there can be a wild difference in, finishing towards the bottom there and just climbing a few spots and getting a few more $1,000. So there's a lot to play for a lot of these players as we move into the offseason. I mean, heck, when you've got a job where you don't play in the winter, it sure is nice to take 20 or 30 grand home with you to carry you through the rest of the season. I mean, it's a really great bonus, and that's how I always look at this event. Is it really is just an opportunity for players that have toured all year long to go there and be guaranteed money and have a chance to win even more. And there's always like. Forget what the viewers feel as far as the pressure. If you watch like some of when Isaac and Ricky had the duel, I think that was 2 years ago now. The pressure and the tension was palpable. You can tell how much it means to those guys because it's a ton of money. That always will add a little bit of extra emphasis to this event, especially as it comes down the stretch. You'll see it in the players' eyes. Yeah, no,
I definitely think we got to talk. When you think Woods, you got to talk Isaac Robinson. Ezra Robinson will come to mind. Chris Dickerson is sitting right there. But a player that can get overlooked when you're talking Woods, but shouldn't based on this year's results, is Niklas Antila. Mm-hmm. I thought he had a good finish at Champions Cup. I just looked it up to confirm. He came in second. Yeah, he lost by 4 strokes out there, and Champions Cup was all at Northwood Black, which is basically the big brother of Nevin. So I'm calling it another interesting finish to look at there. This is one of Gannon's worst events. He lost by 10. He came in 10th place.
Wow.
So, I came in 10th. But, other player that did really good, Ricky Wysocki, Ezra Robinson, Niklas Antila, Calvin Heimberg, Matty O, Chris Dickerson, all beat Gannon at that 4-round wooded event, and they are all within striking distance coming into this event. But Niklas Antila, he's had a very solid season overall. As we just said, runner-up at Champions Cup. He's proven he could do it in the woods. Only 2 strokes back of Gannon. What do you think of him? Yeah,
I think Antila is kind of almost a dark horse, even being 2 strokes back and being near the top of the leaderboard. I think he's kind of been an unsung hero this season. He's had some big runner-up finishes. I mean, he was close at Worlds. He was close at Champions Cup. I think he was even somewhat in the mix at the European Open. The season he had has been pretty consistent, but I think he just is kind of a quiet player.
Yeah, 6 at European.
Yeah, so he's been around all year long, and he's just hasn't converted maybe in some of the opportunities that would have elevated his season a bit higher. But no, it wouldn't shock me at all to see him play well and be in contention. Because he's been very consistent this year. A lot of there's a reason these players have made it to this point and have gotten to that part of the leaderboard with the stroke head starts they do, because there's a lot of consistent players. There's only a few guys, you mentioned AB, maybe not the most consistent player this year. He just won a whole bunch. That's why he's there. But there wasn't a lot of wins to be had outside of Ganon Burr and Ricky and Calvin. So you look at the other names up there, they had to play really consistent to be where they are on that leaderboard, and that's going to show.
Yeah, well, because Gannon, Ricky, Calvin, AB had to make up
almost all the wins.
90% of the tour wins.
So, I mean, Ansela had a win.
Because Ansela had Open at Austin win.
But yeah, we look at like a character like Ezra Robinson and even Paul McBeth this year. Both played. I mean, Paul for a good stretch of the season played pretty consistent, like top 10, top 15 golf, and that's why he's in the spot he's at. He really snuck up there into the position that he's in.
Yeah. Now going into this weekend, I really like both the Robinson brothers.
Yeah.
I think obviously Isaac has performed well out here before. He's the name that's going to come to mind when you think Tough Wooded. That all makes sense. Ezra Robinson, I think, could be very sneaky here. As I just said at Champions Cup, which I think is a great comparison tournament here. He came in third. He only lost by 5 to Andrew Presnell out there. And Ezra's just he's had a very, I guess, under the radar, but very just kind of like quiet season where he's put himself in the mix a bunch. He hasn't had that win yet. This could be, in this format, a really good breakout win. Obviously, it's not the same as winning a full Pro Tour event, but with this...
It'll feel just as good.
Well, with this, starting stroke advantage this year, I think the flaw of 2024's Tour Championship is that we're going to have the memory of 2022 and before, when it was the bracket play, before they switched it up last year, because when it's all said and done, this event could go down as one of the hardest to win if you're not in the lead.
Yeah.
But coming into this, it still feels gimmicky because I hear Tour Championship and I think fluky. Nate Queen's going to win.
Yeah. Well,
you know
it's
what I'm
tricky
saying?
because it's not just if you're in the lead, because it's the, now I will say in a season like this where probably 85-90% of the wins have come from like 4 or 5 people. If you're anybody beneath them and you come back to win, absolutely. But even if you look at somebody like a Calvin Heimberg, yes, he has a disadvantage. He's got to chase down 3 people, but most of the field is behind him. So,
yes.
so like it would be impressive to chase down.
It depends on who wins.
Right. It is impressive to chase him down, but I think this tournament's always going to be one you have to really look into, be like, okay, what did they accomplish? Who is ahead of them? But I always think, like I said, this tournament, I think it just does a lot more for the players because obviously there's the money, but then as much as maybe this tournament doesn't get a ton of credit from the fans or player of the year talks or this or that, it will help them as they maybe go to negotiate contracts for the next season. Hey, I just won this big thing. Like that helps as well. So I think it's just it's a big chance for people to end on a high note, and that's what you want to end your season.
For sure. Is there any other players on this list that you want to talk about for a chance to win or a chance to end their season with an exclamation mark?
I think Andrew Presnell is that guy. I think he's at 3 under to start.
Yeah.
Obviously won Champions Cup. I could very easily see Presnell making a mark on this tournament. I don't know if he'll be around the whole time, but it wouldn't surprise me to see his name pop up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. From 3 under, I don't think he quite could have done it at Champions Cup because he won by 4 over
Gannon
Nicklaus.
by 10, though.
He beat Gannon by 10, so obviously he would have done it there. But yeah, another player that's on my mind, on my list, who's sitting right now at that 5 under mark is Joseph Anderson. Joey Buckets. He played very good at Champions Cup. He's been getting hotter as the seasons went on. I definitely think he's a guy that we could really see get in the mix there, and it would be a good exclamation mark on his season as well. Now, if we head over to the FBO side, Missy Gannon is that player that is starting with a 10 under par. Holland Handley is looking at 9 under now. Kristen Tatar is at 8. Owen Scoggins at 7. Evelina and Ella at 6 under. Kat Merch and Natalie Ryan at 5 under, and then Hannah Blomroos and Anniken Steen at 4 under, and that's your top 10. Obviously, the big focus, Evelina, Owen, Kristen, Holland, Missy, they make up your top 5, all within 4 strokes of each other.
Yep.
What do you take in from this leaderboard? Who are your eyes on?
Honestly, one of the craziest things is I can't believe that Ella Hansen ended up in 6th place this year. That really surprises me, honestly. I think that, and I know part of that, I guess, is because Evelina and Hannah missed events. I think the top of that leaderboard, obviously, it's like any FPO where that always looks like your best bet. But obviously, Evelina won Champions Cup. She threw her way to that victory. So I think you have to like her here as well. But, you know, if like we saw at USDGC, if Kristen's game is clicking, you know, there's only so many strokes you can make up just by out throwing. So I think that's going to be her biggest hurdle. I don't think Holland Hanley is particularly going to have a ton of success on this course. I think Missy Gannon should. I think her game's been a little bit off as of recent, but, you know, she's won the Tour Championship before as well. And like her game should line up with this type of course where she can just continue advancing through the woods, making putts when she needs to. And yeah, you know, it's going to come down to hitting lines because there's a few names up there. Like I think Missy, Kristen, Owen, Evelina, those are probably the names that stick out to me the most, but it's just going to be which one of them is hitting lines the best and getting off the tee and avoiding the big numbers. And that's what will determine the winner. I mean, when I look at that list and I see the stroke head starts, it almost like it's pretty easy for me to block it out just because of the violent swings that we already see in FPO. So multiply that with a course that has so much chaotic, like, trouble and danger to it, then yeah, I think with this, I think that we could see the leaderboard jump all over the place.
Yeah, no, I'm Missy's the interesting one to me because with the lead and with her history, I want to say she's for sure the favorite, but with how she's been playing recently, I can't. It just doesn't quite click with me. It doesn't sit right with me.
When was her last win?
It wasn't long ago.
It wasn't long ago.
No.
I think she just had a couple events in a row that were like not
She
great.
just hasn't. Her last win was MVP Open.
No, she did win MVP.
Yeah,
I
just
thought
went
it was
11th. Then she went 5th, 7th, 6th, 12th,
Yeah.
6th. It was that stretch.
She had a bad stretch. So she
Yeah.
did win. Okay, I forgot she did win MVP just then. I thought it was earlier in the playoffs.
I just throughout the season, there's been several times I expected more of her and she's underperformed, which has just led me to always be uncertain about her.
I feel better about her knowing that she won MVP.
Yeah, no, it's not long ago. But that stretch of the 12, because like again, we have to remember with the FPO field depth, a 7th place might as well be outside the top 20.
Yeah, well, for sure.
So a 7th place is where that sounds great. I take that with a grain of salt because I'm like, well, how far back of the lead were you? And a lot of times that 7th place might legitimately be 18 strokes out of the lead. Mm-hmm. So Missy makes a lot of sense for me as she should be. All logic would point to she should walk away with this. She should be the favorite. She has a stroke head start. My gut says no. Yeah. My gut is saying Kristen, Owen, Evelina, one of the winners is coming out of that bunch there. It's really just going to be, is Kristen's game on? Because if it's on and she's keeping it in the middle of the fairway, I think that's going to be great. Owen is going to be all about kind of what other players do, because I don't think Owen's going to be able to push and score as much as a lot of other players out here, but I think she's going to be able to put herself in a consistent position where if her putt's on, it doesn't matter how much good everyone else is throwing the disc. If she's draining 45 footers, best of luck to you, Evelina. So I think that's kind of where my mind's at, but I won't be surprised. The only player in that top 10 that will genuinely surprise me if they win is Holland Handley.
Not Ella Hansen?
And Ella Hansen. I should have said top 5. Okay. Yeah, no, when I'm looking at the list, Ella Hansen, Holland Handley, Annika Steen, Natalie Ryan, those are the 4 in the top 10 that would surprise me if they took it down. Everyone else, I think, is right in the mix. Kat Mersch played great out here last year. Henna Blomroos played great at Champions Cup. Every other player, when they get hot, is the best player in the world. It's just Ella and Holland, I feel like their backhand releases can get a little squirrely, and if you get a little squirrely on this course, you're out of it, girly. So
hit him with
that's how we're rocking with that. But any other players you want to talk about going into the FPO side?
Nope. Think that covers it.
All right, let's get into the predictions. As we look at the final, coming to the final event, I have a 3-point lead. I'm at 128 points. Trevor's at 124. Thank you, Paul Ulibarri. Really appreciate that. I don't even know where Kevin Jones finished. Didn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Finished. That was the key word. Playing a little Mario Kart. I guess I just didn't want to be in first when the blue shell comes. So
that makes sense. Because if you're doing your math at home,
a guy who's crippled.
You're looking at your math at home is worth 4 points for Dark Horse. I am up by 3, so I was down by 1 going into last week. Predictions. We're doing our normal predictions since it's so close. MPO, I'm taking Ganon Burr to take it down. I'm taking Ricky Wysocki to come in second. I'm taking Isaac Robinson to come in third.
Yeah, this isn't really going to help me much. I do at least have Rick to win, and then I have Isaac in second, Gannon in third. So we have different orders, and that could be the difference. But you can't look past those 3. You definitely can, but like as close as it is right now, just got to give it my best shot.
What about FPO?
Probably going to be a similar story.
Let's
probably not, actually. There'll be one omission from mine that I'm almost positive you'll have. So I have Missy winning, then Own, then Kristen.
I just have a different order. I have Kristen winning,
Dang.
Missy second.
Didn't take Evelina.
I didn't, just because of the stroke head start. I think Missy has, 4 strokes on her? You got to like that for a top 3.
Own only has like 1, though.
Yeah, I just like Own.
All right, well, it's going to go. So basically, I really need Own to take second and Kristen to take, I need Kristen to not win.
You just got to have a better order than me. We have the same 6 players.
And then, I just need Ricky. We do have all 3 in different spots for MPO. So they can definitely shift around because obviously the difference between 1 and 3, if that happens twice, that's all I need.
We'll be back on Monday to recap everything that went down at the Pro Tour Championship. And kind of talk through the season. And then not this Monday, but the Monday after that will be the coveted Grippy Awards show. It's that time of the year already. And then we're going to spin off into off-season Grip Locked, man. And it's going to be a great time. We're going to
Every year we get to off-season Grip Locked, and I think to myself, what is that show? But then it ends up being great.
It's a phenomenal time. We talk about free agency in the bag this year. We're going to have actual punishments and rewards and stuff for. So that's going to be electric. It's going to be an absolute blast. So we'll talk to you Monday, though, to recap everything that's about to go down in Nevin.